Today, exploring the crypto market of Portugal, one of the best known bot creators as the guest and a special guest about his book, Blockchain and Gen Z. My name is Koen Schobbers and this is Bots TV. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Bots TV, live from the Bots headquarters in the Netherlands in Haarlem. Now, before we start, I do like to mention that everything we talk about in today's episode is no financial advice. Make sure to always do your own research. Of course, next to me, we have Herbert. Herbert, you've been here for the past couple of weeks. Yeah. How was this week for you?
It's been a spectacular week, to say the least. Bitcoin going up to $58,000 around the weekend and then crashing back down to about 45,000 or something. Yeah. You can see the sunny side of that. You can buy the dip now. And then we can spend this hour talking Bitcoin back up again and becoming rich within an hour, okay?
Yeah. It's a buy the dip scenario. You know, we basically get a discount. Right?
We do.
Get a discount,
yes.
Exactly. Now, furthermore, we have Mikaela in our show as well. Mikaela, how are you doing?
Yes, thanks, Koen. Hi, everyone. My name is Mikaela Burch. I have a background in financial markets. I'm also a comedian, and I will be joining Bots TV as a TV host, which I'm very, very excited for. I'm going to be helping out with the news, anything related to guests, as well as questions that you may have. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them within the app. I will pick them up and use them throughout the show. So with that, let's get the show started. I'm going to pass it back to the table so we can hear what type of exciting stuff that we have planned today.
Yes, thank you, Mikaela. Exactly. We're going to go through the schedule of today's episode, and we're going to start with Bots News, which will be, of course, presented by Mikaela. Then we're going to talk about Portugal together with Paulo from Portugal, then at the Bots Around the World section. Then we're going to talk with Matthew Merle in Bots Topic, eventually with Roylanders in Bots League, and finally we're going to talk with one of our users of the Bots app in the Bots Users section. So to kick things off in today's episode, we're going to go to Mikaela to actually listen about the news of the past couple of days, the past week.
So for our news items today, we actually have 4. First up, a painful drop for Bitcoin. After 3 consecutive double-digit green weeks, Bitcoin finally corrected. It all started with a sell-off last Monday when a serial user sold off 27 Bitcoin worth over $156 million. The next day, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen also made a sharp warning on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. This resulted in over $2 billion in assets which have been liquidated. Next up, Bots committed to a license model for Europe and Asia. Bots has adopted its business model from a do-it-yourself approach to a licensing model for faster growth. The license-oriented internationalization goes hand in hand with strategic partnerships with financial institutions from Europe and Asia. Unlike the Netherlands, other countries have a more open and innovative approach towards decentralized finance, crypto, and blockchain. Offices in Switzerland and Singapore are already open and allow innovators to grow faster and more safely. The third item that we have today, the massive BNP surge in Bots app explained. The Binance coin surged last week, so the bots in our very own Bots app who were trading with the Binance coin as its base coin surged as well. You can see in the graph that we have shown here, as of early February, it started around $50, and then that increased all the way up to $300 within this past weekend. So indeed, quite a significant increase within a short amount of time. Now, the last item that we have up for today is that Jerome Powell helped stocks recover. So thanks to the reassuring comments from Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve System, he helped stocks to recover. He told the Senate Banking Committee that the central bank would keep its foot on the gas pedal as the pandemic recovery path remains highly uncertain. Now, as we all know, this is a very volatile market, so I'm interested to pass it to the table to see exactly what they have to say about this news piece as well as the other ones that we have today.
Yes, thank you, Mikaela, for the news. Now, Herbert, finally we heard that Jerome Powell is helping stocks to recover. How does that work, do you think?
He says he will keep his foot on the pedal, meaning, I guess, that he's going to keep interest rates down, because one of the fears in the market is that the interest is creeping up, the interest rate. And another is he will for sure keep printing money, because new floods of money will have to go somewhere, and lots of it is going to the stock market, keeping again the stock rates up.
Yeah, as well as, of course, the cryptocurrency market. Now, even though there's money flowing into the market, sometimes we still get an enormous crash, like in the past week, as well as the stock market and the cryptocurrency market. How do you look into this crash?
Well, as far as the crypto market is concerned, Bitcoin has been going up very fast, and there's a lot of FOMO there, fear of missing out. So people are running to the exchanges to buy Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin price goes up, and people buy more for fear of missing out. Then at some particular time, somebody starts selling and taking a profit, and all the automatic selling orders kick in, and the price crashes down.
It's just one big waterfall.
And this has been predicted. It has taken place in 2017 a couple of times, crashes of about 30%. It's really a normal thing. It's a normal thing now as well, and the price will recover soon enough.
If you invested in cryptocurrency or stocks, or you invested in the BOTSAP like maybe a week ago when the prices were very high in the stock market, and you are currently in a minus, what would then be the ideal situation? Would you hold, like long-term thinking, or?
Well, if you're a trader, you might buy more right now, buy the dip.
Buy the discount.
Yes, that's right. And if you're more conservative, you might just hold your coins, because historically, even people who bought at peaks, like in 2013, like in 2017, eventually you'll be back in the green. That's
imagine if you bought the peak of 2017, which was around $20,000 at least if we talk about Bitcoin, you basically now doubled your money, right?
Yes.
Even though you had a couple of years with lots of struggle.
You would have been very unhappy for about 3 years, and now you're back in the green. So just take your time and sit it out.
Yeah. Thinking long term. Well, very interesting news that Mikaela presented to us, and we will be returning to Mikaela because we're going to talk in Bots Around the World to a very special guest from Portugal. Mikaela.
Yes, so next up is our Around the World segment, and today we have a very interesting guest from Portugal, the lovely land of everyone's favorite pastry, the pastel de nata. His name is Paulo Trezentos. He's a co-founder of Aptoide, the third top Android app store. He also has his own crypto coin. So let's get the program over to the table to hear his take on financial innovation.
Yes, thank you, Mikaela. So Paulo Trezentos, can you hear me?
Perfectly, loud and clear.
Yes, perfect. We can see you as well. Thank you for joining us in today's show of Bots TV. Now, co-founder of Aptoide, of course, and I was curious to start the conversation. Like, how did you eventually roll into this tech industry and the crypto industry, which eventually also led to you having your own cryptocurrency, basically?
Yeah, it's a story not so original as that. So my background, I have a PhD in computer science. I also a lecturer at the Lisbon University. And I am CEO and co-founder of an Android app store. Android app store is competing with Google Play, and we have more than 100 million users. In running this app store, we understood that would be need some technology to kind of align the incentives to distribute the revenue share from the in-app purchase when someone buy inside an application. And back in 2016, we met with Ethereum and Ethereum smart contracts, and we found that would be the right technology to power and to enable our business to create billing inside apps and games in our app store.
So let's look at the Portuguese. Paulo, are the Portuguese big crypto fans?
I'd say that with the current globalization, Portugal is as keen of crypto as other countries in Europe. There is strong groups of trading and using crypto. I would say yes, we are enjoying crypto. I also think that the government is very favorable. So we have taxes for personal earnings that are very favorable to crypto earnings.
And could you say anything about crypto penetration, like how many Portuguese own Bitcoin?
Well, we don't have statistics about that because typically it's difficult, right? It does not come in census. But I can say that there are groups, especially in technology and universities, and also in trading, people related with equity funds and so on, that of course are heavy users and holders of crypto. We don't have statistics, but I can tell you by my knowledge, it's very comparable with other countries. And we think it is a very good technology, a very good bleeding edge technology.
Okay, so are there many Portuguese exchanges, and are there companies in Portugal that accept Bitcoin as a payment, for instance?
Mm-hmm. Well, there is no well-known exchange. There were some projects, but I think that overall the current global exchanges are used all over. But we have very interesting projects. Well, I mentioned Aptoid and Appcoins. So the ticker is APPC, is our cryptocurrency that you mentioned that is traded in Binance and Ubi and so on. You also have in Braga, in the north of the country, a very interesting company called Utrust. They have a cryptocurrency for kind of a PayPal for crypto, and they have several dozens of merchants that are already integrated with them. I'd say these two projects are maybe the flagships of the country in terms of cryptocurrency, but you have many others that position in the global market that also accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I saw, Paulo, that the APPC is currently around 6 cents. Of course, the Bitcoin dump might have a little effect there as well in the past week, of course. But you do have your own coin. And I was wondering, you currently base it on the Ethereum platform. There's a lot of talk about Ethereum and competitors of Ethereum as well. Are you also looking into other developments in this still pretty new industry for many people to see if you can improve your platform?
I will give you some polemic opinion. We have been, since Ethereum, I have been in DevCons since 2016, and we are running 300,000 transactions of in-app purchase per month. From those, only like 100, 200 goes to Ethereum because our users are fed up of the slowness of the network and the gas fees. They cannot pay for something that in the game costs $10. They don't want to pay $5 or $6 on fees. Yeah. So, or Ethereum 2.0 and the shard chains take off on 20 or 21, or we will change technology for sure, because we want to kind of massify the on-chain transactions. But if Ethereum 2.0 don't take off, we will change likely of technology.
Yeah. And talking about change, Herbert already asked you a question about a little bit the political side in the country. What does the government and banks, especially also the banks, think about cryptocurrency stablecoins?
Mm-hmm. Well, banks in Portugal are no different from other parts of the world, so they are very conservative. I would say that the most interesting part is that the law that said that personal earnings from crypto are not taxed. So in Portugal, if you have some earnings from buying and selling Bitcoin or Appcoins or wherever, it's not taxed as personal, only if you are a company and you do business around it. So that's something that is really, I would say, an incentive for people to hold and to sell and to use Bitcoins. So I would say that that's the major movement from the government toward as safe. We have done an ICO, and also the ICO was partly here done in Portugal, partly in Singapore, but the Portuguese government was always very keen on supporting us, and we have no problem on.
Now, Paulo, we know the climate in Portugal is lovely weather-wise, but how is Portuguese climate for crypto startups?
I would say that there was a decline after the 2018. But we are seeing new startups, DeFi and other areas that are taking off. I would say that we are much mature that we were in 2018. It looks like a very long way, but it was just 2 years ago. And I think that we'll see very, very interesting startups soon from Portugal.
Okay, and can you name any crypto startups right now that are interesting? Portuguese crypto startups?
Sure. So we have, I already said, Utrust in Braga. We have Habit in Lisbon that do more in the area of insurance and so on. So I would say that looking in the internet, you'll find very interesting startups in Portugal, more in fintech, but a little bit in all areas, like ourselves in gaming, that does not have nothing to do with fintech.
Okay, we have a closing question for every one of our guests, and that is, what is your prediction for the Bitcoin price by the end of this year?
So I would not eat no part of my body on this prediction, but I'm confident that we'll hit $100,000.
Sounds good. Over
Thank you.
$100,000. Paulo, thank you for your time
having
to be here live in the Bots TV show. I hope everything is going well with Aptoid, and we'll see what kind of innovations you guys are going to do, especially maybe with the Ethereum and other competitors. We'll read about you in the news, undoubtedly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next guest is going to be our special guest of today's show, and it's a special guest that has written several books. Now, I'm not going to mention what books yet. We're going to talk about that with him as well. He knows a lot about blockchain, fintech, and Gen Z. So, Mikaela, who is our next upcoming guest?
Now, before I get on to the next guest, I would like to first make an announcement about Boxlead. I'm sure everyone is very, very excited about this. And actually, today is quite special because we have one of the most successful creators of a bot within the program today. So if you're interested on exactly who that may be, please stick around and continue watching the show. However, as of the next guest that we have Matthew Merle, the co-founder and managing partner of Fifth Era and Blockchain Coin Investors with investments in over 250 blockchain companies. He has advised economic entities on issues of innovation globally from China, the EU, the UK, the US, including his home state of California. So let's get back to the table so we can hear his take on blockchain, innovation, and investors.
Yes, thank you, Mikaela. So, Matthew Merle, can you hear me? Can you hear us? There you are.
I can. Yes, I can. Good to meet you, Jesper.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us in the show here. I'm sitting together with Herbert next to me, and co-founder, managing director of Fifth Era and Blockchain Coin Investors. Could you elaborate a little bit more about what you do on a daily basis?
Well, I think Mikaela gave you a pretty good overview. We're investors in 250 blockchain companies, including about 20 of the unicorns, Coinbase, Circle, Kraken, SFOX, Securitize. So this is our primary focus. We're investors. In addition, I'm chairman of the Universal Protocol Alliance, which is Bittrex, Ledger, Uphold, Circuit, and so on. And then also I'm vice chairman of SFOX, the leading crypto prime broker in America. And what else did I tell you? I'm also chairman of Securitize, the leading security token platform in Europe.
Okay.
So I think that's probably enough, Jesper.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Now, Matthew, when I was looking at the books you've written, one stood out as far as I'm concerned because it looked very special. It's a novel. It's called The Ministry of Bitcoin, and it's about who created Bitcoin. It's a fictional story. Yes. So my question to you would be, why write a fictional story about the creator of Bitcoin?
There's a couple of reasons, and thank you for asking the question. Alison and I had already written a book on blockchain, which you can find everywhere, Blockchain Competitive Advantage. That's sort of a serious book. But it struck me that most of the people in the world haven't even taken the first step to learn about blockchain and Bitcoin. And most people in the world don't read business books. So I said, well, why don't I write a novel? And it's a novel that if you read it, you're going to learn the essentials of blockchain payments. You're going to learn about FinCEN. You're going to learn about how, how to really think about the importance of a distributed sovereignless money. You're also going to see how Anonymous, WikiLeaks, Al-Qaeda, 9/11, how all of these things might have created a context into which a sovereignless digital currency made sense. But it's just a novel and it's just for fun.
Okay, and do you have any thoughts yourself about who really created Bitcoin?
I do actually. Given what we know about Satoshi Nakamoto, this is a very educated person. It's a person that really understands how the economic system works. The person clearly understands financial systems. They have a good understanding of crypto. But we also know they were not a very good coder. So, at the end of the day, Hal Finney and others had to code the work of Satoshi. So if Satoshi's a single person, and it could be a group of people, but if it's a single person, I think it's a professor at a leading institution. And I have a couple of specific people in mind. I'm not going to share their names, but I think it's probably,
that would be amazing.
I actually think it's probably an Oxford professor. And that's all I'm going to say today. I do think it's an English person as well. Some of Satoshi's writings and some of his vocabulary and language make me think it's probably not an American. And I also think the fact that they put the Financial Times report, into the Genesis block makes me also think they were based in the UK or in London or Oxford at that time. So that's all I'm going to say today. But I think if you research what I just said, let me also say I think it was someone that was fundamental to the building out of the internet. And I think they are probably given the game away.
Okay, that certainly gives us some basis for further research.
Well, it's super interesting. It's like one big puzzle, and maybe it will be the best kept secret in the world in the upcoming 10, 20, 50, 100 years. Who knows? If this indeed will become, the new currency system. Now, you're an expert in blockchain, in fintech. Maybe for the people watching, like many people that are watching this show are beginners in this industry as well. Could you elaborate a little bit about what blockchain is?
Yes. Yeah, happy to do it. I think that if you're new to the space, there's two things you've got to keep your eyes on. The first is that the world is transitioning to a digital world. And we're only halfway there. The last 20 years, we built out the internet based upon a protocol called TCP/IP, and that was a communication protocol. And what we have right now is a communication platform. It's really, really good at linking us together and allowing us to communicate as we are right now in real time. But it is not very good at commerce because it isn't a commerce protocol. It's insecure. It doesn't have a good system of identity. It's very concentrated. And most important of all, it has no native digital monies or digital assets embedded in it. TCP/IP is not fit for purpose for the digital economy that we're all going to live in another 20 years. So into that context, this is the second thing you have to focus on. Most of the world's assets are still paper-based. So public equities are electronic, but property, real estate, and funds and private equities are all paper-based. They need to go digital, and most sovereign fiat currencies are going to have to be upgraded too.
So are you implying that blockchain is the right infrastructure to change that?
Exactly, Matthias, because Satoshi Nakamoto designed blockchain as a protocol to create the world's first at-scale, sovereignless, distributed money, Bitcoin. And it's a demonstration of what the future is going to be like.
Okay. Now, some people say Bitcoin is just an example and blockchain is the real innovation. Other people say Bitcoin is the only useful application of blockchain. Where in that spectrum can we find you?
Oh, well, definitely not the latter. Bitcoin has a first mover advantage. It has hundreds of millions of people in its network as supporters, and it is a at-scale demonstration of a digital money that is sovereignless. It's not going to go away. It may not be the only one, but it's definitely going to be one of the ones that we use into the future. I'm absolutely sure of that. But absolutely, the blockchain and distributed ledger technology has a lot more applications than just creating digital monies. I could go down the path of digital commodities, crypto commodities, or digitized assets of all types. But I could also talk about indexes and provenance and other applications. I think that this is a technology with a lot of uses, and it isn't a vertical. It's not like it's an industry. It impacts every industry. It's a horizontal, just like TCP/IP and the internet proved to be.
And talking about users, what do you think of Gen Z, the generation growing up with all this innovation, digitalization, the internet, and so on and so forth?
Yes, thank you. This is a great question, and I've written about this in the past. We don't yet appreciate just how different Generation Z or the connected generation are. And that's part of the reason I wrote Ministry of Bitcoin, because the protagonists in that book come from that generation. But I'll give you some examples. They don't even think about work and friends and families and interactions in the same way as my generation do. And when you double click on that and you start asking them, what does work mean to you? And how do you define it? Or what is a friend? And how do you define a friend? They have fundamentally different definitions. They also, of course, are technology literate because they were born into a connected world. And they can use and expect to use technology in different ways than my generation would use it. And we're seeing that when you look at things like GameStop and obviously Reddit and the like. They understand how to mobilize large communities to take action together. And that is new to the world. We haven't seen that before. And I believe GameStop is just an example. It's just a demonstration of the power of that sort of connected community involvement and action against topics that are relevant and of interest to this population. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we've saved the hardest question for the last one. What would be your prediction for the Bitcoin price by the end of this year?
So actually, I think this is the easiest question because it's definitely going to be up over the long haul. It's very volatile.
Yeah.
So you as a buyer need to care about volatility if you're going to be a trader. But if you're going to be a hodler, if you're going to buy it and put it away and forget about it and hold it for the long term, what we've seen for ever since inception is that the underlying curve is going up. There's volatility around it, but it's going up. And so I quite like Paulo. I think it's a very safe prediction to say 100,000 by year end or more. The harder predictions are all the other coins. What's going to happen to Polkadot? What's going to happen to Filecoin? What's going to happen to Near, Stellar? This is a harder conversation, but Bitcoin is on an underlying upward growth trajectory. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, definitely a parabolic trajectory. And would you also say it's above 100 or below 100 maybe?
Well, you know, on any given day, it's so volatile that you could be right that the trend line has gone above 100. But on that given day in January the 1st, 2022, it could be up 30% or down 20 or 30% around that trend line. The point I'm trying to make, Mathis, is if you're a trader, you care about volatility. But if you're focused on the future and you're trying to build wealth for your family, and your family's family, then I think you should hodl. And furthermore, I also think you should look at things like tokenized carbon credits, like universal carbon, and try and think about other tokens that are changing the world in a very positive way.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you, Matthew, for sharing your knowledge and taking the time. I know about the projects you mentioned, the Stellar, the Polkadot, the Cardano, all those kind of projects, and I'm a happy hodler myself. So thank you for taking the time. I hope one day we meet in real life. For now, good luck today.
And thank you for having me on board.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So, great conversation with Matthew. However, we also have a great conversation upcoming. We're going to talk about Bots League. Now, the Bots League is up and running, and we have one of the bot creators as a guest. And it's not just a bot creator, it's one of the best known bot creators and also very active in the Discord community group. Now, Mikaela, who is the person I'm talking about?
So next up, we have Roy Lenders, the co-owner of Boosting Alpha, a company which builds financial trading algorithms used in online trading platforms such as our very own bots. He's developed around 35 algorithms. So indeed, this is a very interesting guest to have on our show today. And again, I just want to shoot out another reminder. If you have any questions, this is your opportunity to ask them right now so you can have them answered live for you today. So let's get it over to Roy to see what he has to say.
Yes, thank you, Mikaela. So, Roy, welcome. Happy you're here. However, I kind of prefer to call you Boosting Alpha because that's how we call you on Discord. That's how we call you online, right?
Could also be the Noogie Man, Team Dakar, the different brands.
It could be anything. Could be anything. But Boosting Alpha is the name
That's the name of the company as well. Yeah.
The most popular name and the name of your business, indeed. And you have more than 20 years of experience in supply chain.
Yeah.
And now you're building these algorithms. Can you tell us your story of how you eventually ended up in building these algorithms and bots?
Yeah, so my actually background was mathematics and ICT. But when I was ready at technical university, I did it in 4 years, which was did not happen a lot back then. And I still needed to go military service, but it was only 1 year until that was abandoned. So and I didn't want to go in military service. So then I moved to another 2-year study at the university, just to get out of military service, and I could get paid a salary, etc. And I wanted to move out of IT more into the business sphere. So I went into logistics, and then I went into consultancy. So that's why I spent more than 20 years of my life at consultancy. Capgemini, Ernst & Young, I was partner there, for example. But about 10 years ago, I decided to leave consultancy, to leave the Big Four, and just, to start with my own companies. And because I was in a consultancy, I was active in supply chain. As a supply chain consultant, you see the whole company, right? You see it from purchasing to sales. So you know what the money generating process is in a company, right? So when we build algorithms for equity, for example, company stocks, that helps me a lot because I've seen most of the industries. So I know if I want to predict Heineken, if you look at the price of Mout, Gerst, you look at the euro-dollar, for example, because Heineken produces in the Netherlands and sells it to US primarily. You know the things that have impact on profit and revenue, and therefore also on stock price. And that helps a lot. So for crypto, that's not knowledge, which is a lot of relevant. But for company stocks, it's very relevant.
But that's how you got into building algorithms.
So we started with equity. I'm not a super crypto believer myself, right? I come from the traditional world. So we started with equity.
We'll talk more about that after this broadcast.
I started with equity and forex, but about 1.5 years ago, when we met the bots team, and the app was not live, we started working with them together early on. We decided to work together with them on the crypto sphere. And for us, it's just a series of numbers, right? Whether it's stocks, whether it's forex, whether it's crypto, it's all numbers.
Okay, let's talk about your bots. You make lots of them. Mm-hmm. I understand you have about 35 bots going, but you have designed about 1,000 algorithms from which you select your bots. Is that right?
Well, of the 1,000 algorithms we built, only one gets the final.
Wow. So basically,
so we try a lot, and 99.99% never reach the app.
Do you generate those algorithms, those raw algorithms? Do you generate them randomly?
No. We always start with an ID. So I'm a fan of crazy IDs. So we always start with a crazy ID. So for example,
what is crazy? Yeah.
I've looked at at using data from satellites to actually predict equities, for example. But for example, the power of P is a good example. It's in the app. And it started with this crazy thought, okay, the number P, which is a constant.
3.14.
3.14 and then an unlimited number of numbers. It occurs everywhere in nature. It occurs on the moon, on Mars, everywhere in the universe. So my thought, that was a stupid weekend thought, why would it not occur on financial markets? So with that hypothesis, I just, I took this existing algorithm and I tried to, let's build in this P number just to see if it worked. And it worked. So, but a lot of these IDs which we try do not work. So that's why this 1,000 IDs and only,
Yes.
Well, the power of P bots are one of the most popular bots in the bots app.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
But
They do very well.
it started with a stupid ID. Okay, why would this number not be present on financial markets if it's everywhere in the world?
Yeah.
And apparently it is. So yeah.
So those bots you have created now, the functioning bots, are they similar in some way? Do they carry your genes, for instance? Are they a team?
Yeah, we are in total we are with 30 people. But the actual people doing the actual IDs, we basically do with 2 people.
Well, actually, I mean the bots themselves. Are they similar?
No, they're all different. They're all
very
different. I think of these 35 bots that we have right now, it's certainly more than 10 different strategies altogether, completely different strategies. But some of them, have different focus on coins, for example. So the Power of P series, it's the same algorithm, but have different sets of coins. But in total of these 35 bots, it's probably more than 10 different, totally different algorithms.
And do you also participate in the bots league with several bots?
Yeah, we put 10 of our existing bots actually in the league. So among which the Power of P. I put them more. I've noticed in Discord and on the bots app, all the risky ones are popular, and the less risky ones. Apparently, people see the high numbers, right? That they want to have the high returns.
Sure.
And risk doesn't matter. Yeah? We put the more risky ones in the bots league.
High risk, high reward, but at the same time you can also lose a lot, right? But these are the standings of the bots league as of now. So on the first place currently we have Hot BB King Loved BTC. Hopefully we can get the graphic in. Yes, there we go. So Hot BB King loves BTC up 102%. That's insane because the Bitcoin market is crashing and they are 102% up. Then Hot Mama and Ocelot on the third place. And then we have several others down there. And of course, there's more than 10 bots in the bots league ranking, but these are the top 10 bots with Hot BB King Loves Bitcoin doing a great job in the first week. Now, these are currently the top 10 bots, but of course, Roy, the bots league is running till the end of April, let's say. So there's a lot of time to see eventually some boosting alpha bots, maybe in the...
Yeah, they only started this week. Our bots only started this week, so... Yeah.
Exactly, there's still a lot of time to go. And I do believe that once time passes, we can get a better idea of which bots are actually doing very well. Because like you mentioned, high risk, high reward, right? Can be like very short term, a lot of reward, but long term, very bad outcomes as well. Now we have a question. One of our viewers has a question for you. So let's go to Mikaela and let's see what kind of question that is.
Yes, so we do have a question. Again, continue asking questions if you have them throughout the show. So the question that we have today right now is, how long are the algorithms on crypto tenable, since it's going to be algorithm against algorithm at some point? So I'm very curious about the answer to this, but let's throw it back to the table to see what Roy has to say about it.
Yeah. How long they will work? Well, where we are different, I think, is that we really built our own. We don't look at others. We don't look at Google. We don't look at other strategies. We just build our own stuff. Why do we do that? Because I hear from other algorithm builders that algorithms have a lifespan of about 6 months. If you copy what everything else is doing, basically, and everybody starts using the same thing, which is basically on Google and all these, then after 6 months, if everybody using it, the effect is going away, right?
So anything that works will somehow stop working after about 6 months.
If you use a popular known strategy.
Yeah, if people copy it, then eventually everyone does the same thing, right? And you have to innovate. So.
Yeah. So if you look at the top companies in this industry that build algorithms, they are very secretive. If you look at companies like, for example, from Wall Street, you have Point72, Rentec, Six Sigma. Two Sigma. Those are companies which are, have specific employment contracts with their employees, attrition 0 because all their employees get paid a lot. They're very secretive. Well, nobody knows really what they are doing.
Talking about getting paid a lot or money in general, we have a great final question which involves a dollar amount. So
that's right. Yep. So we want to know your prediction for the Bitcoin price by the end of 2021.
Yeah, my take is that volatility will get down because the crypto market is becoming bigger, right? Big parties, especially from the US, are entering the market, so volatility will get lower. So I don't think we'll see these big spikes again to, I don't know, 100,000 or 1 million. I think we'll end up between 40 and 50 this year.
Okay, that's
where we are now. So
nice tight window.
Exactly. Yeah, well, this is the price where Tesla and MicroStrategy and many others are currently buying Bitcoin as well. So we'll see where it goes. Well, Roy, thank you for sharing your story and informing us a little bit about the bots of Boosting Alpha. Right? That's the name that we always use in Discord as well. Happy to have you here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. So that was the show. This was Bots TV. Now, we've spoken with many different guests, and we have one more special guest left. And we've spoken with Paulo, we've spoken with Matthew, we've spoken with Roy now, also known as Boosting Alpha, but we still have Bots users, and we're going to talk with one of the users of the actual app. Mikaela, who is it?
Okay, so before we get to the bots users, I just would like to pull up the graph that we have for Bitcoin predictions for the end of 2021. So this is where everyone is at now. As you can see, it's quite a variety that we have. But I'd say the closest that we have now, at least to the current rate, is Roy Linders. So that's nice to have him in the house. But I mean, 100K we have from Matthew, or Paulo also the same. So I guess we will see. Or maybe Matthew's prediction of earlier, very up, might be a safe way to go. But besides the point, yes, so to get on to bots users. So the bots user that we have today is Wilma van Loenhout. She's an avid user of the bots app since July 2020. And here at Bots, we take pride in knowing our community and our users, and we take the pride in also getting a chance to connect with them. So we are very happy to have her in the house today. So let's get it over to the table to see what Wilma has to say.
Yes, thank you, Mikaela. Wilma, welcome. Good to have you here. I can't hear you just yet. Could you say something? I believe the sound is off, so maybe you have to press a button on your screen. Maybe the microphone is muted, possibly. So we're just gonna
we're gonna
double check.
Need some sound.
Yeah, they're working on it. So the back end of the television show is going to connect with Wilma, and we're going to make sure that she will be able to connect with us. In the meantime, Herbert, we've just had an interview with Roy, as well as, of course, with Matthew.
Yes,
and
that was
with
fun.
Paulo. Now, Matthew was the one that earlier this week you sent me an email with a couple of links about Matthew. You've done your research.
That's right.
What did you find? Exactly?
Well, I was struck for one thing by his novel on Bitcoin. We discussed that just now.
Yes.
But I was also very much interested by his essay that's also online on Medium, where he writes about the role of digital natives in the investing landscape. And that was what he... Hey, I'm hearing Wilma right now.
Yes, I hear Wilma as well.
Dat is vreemd. Oké, dan gaan we het gewoon zonder oortjes doen.
Yeah, well, they're
That
still working on the technical side
good.
of things.
Yeah, she's ready. Let's continue talking afterwards. We still have the wrap-up section of the show,
yeah,
right?
sure. We can talk to Wilma now.
But let's first talk with Wilma. So, Wilma, welcome. Glad you're able to join today's show as one of the Bots users. And actually, it's great. For the first time, you are the first ever Bots user to appear in the show. So that's noteworthy, I believe. You're a user since July 2020. When did you really start trading with the Bots app, and how is it going?
I started trading in the end of June, and it was because of the business class. And I was looking at business class, and I was thinking, oh, that's a very good concept. I'm going to do that. And so that's why I started with the bots.
With the Bots app. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how is it going so far? Are your bots doing well since July 2020?
Oh, yeah, of course, because it's a bull market now. And it was very, very good. Very good.
Very good.
And in the beginning, I made the mistake that when I had a profit, I took out the money, but that was no good. So now I learned, and I just I leave it in the bots. If it's going down, I still leave it in the bots.
A true hodler.
So what do you think about the app now?
I think it's very good for the simple people like myself. It's not so difficult to use. I think it's a very good app. In the beginning, there were a lot of bugs in the app, but now it's getting better.
Right. Yeah, we're getting there with more experience, more knowledge. I suppose the app will only improve. But I mean, bots existed since 2019, so 2020 still some difficulties. And undoubtedly, there are still difficulties today that will be improved because that is the way to go for a company, of course. Herbert?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, of course.
Do you invest in other apps as well?
Yes, I also invest in the blocks. And that's just the altcoins. So that's, in the bots app, there are, like Boosting Alpha, he has several bots that trade in different coins. And I like that also. So you can spread your risk.
Yes. Do you have any particular tips for users of the bots app?
Hold on. Don't sell. Hold on.
Hold on. I think that's
simple and effective.
Yeah, that is the best tip to give, I believe. But you mentioned like these are like cryptocurrency investments. Do you also invest in other things like not cryptocurrency related? Are you someone that is interested in that whole industry of investment?
Yeah. Well, the crypto is more my thing, and my husband is more for the stock exchange. So we've got also stocks, and we've got also some funds where we put some money in. So we are very well spread.
Yeah, and talking about spreading, you just mentioned you're spreading your risks by choosing different bots. Do you always read on the page of the bot, do you read the description and check out the risk factor of the bot? Or how do you choose your bot?
I choose my bots. Yeah, I take the high risk bots because high risk is more profit.
Okay. Our final question, as always, do you have your own prediction for the Bitcoin price by the end of this year?
I think it will be around 75,000.
Okay, clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, hopefully we'll get there. And if so, then the bots will do very well as well, undoubtedly, in a bull market especially.
I hope so. I hope that there are more things added to the bots app, like maybe take out some profit and leave the bots for the rest. Yeah,
good point. So I think that's one of the questions that Hendrik was asked a couple of times, where he answered it as well. There are still, of course, many improvements possible to the app as well, and eventually to only make it even better or simpler for more people to use.
Yeah. You know, my mom started the same time as myself. And she was a real hodler, and she hold on, and she has more profit now in the bots app than when I started.
Excuse me, that's your mother?
So it's better to hold.
So your mother was actually investing in the bots app earlier than you did. That's impressive.
No. A bit later than myself, but she
has
hold
more
on
profits.
to it.
She did it better. Okay,
and
that's
she
good
has
also.
More profits because I sold them.
Yeah, hold on. And that's why your most important tip is to just hold on to your investments and not sell, right?
Yes.
Well, Wilma, thank you for being the first ever user in our Bots TV show. Yeah. Hopefully many will follow, and hopefully we can talk to each other again in a couple of months and see how you're doing at that moment.
Okay, very well. Thank you for the invitation, and good luck with the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Great. So the first user that we spoke to, like in real time through our Bots TV
historic
show.
Event, right?
Yeah, historic event. Exactly. Now, like Herbert, we spoke with many different guests, right? We spoke with Paulo, Matthew, Roy, as well as Wilma just now. What are you going to take away from today's conversations?
Well, let me mention two things. I liked Matthew's story about digital natives and how they are changing the investing landscape. The most important example, of course, being the GameStop thing. And I was also struck by Roy's remark that he's trying 1,000 algorithms before finding one that is worth really using.
Yeah, imagine
so
the
that's
amount
very
of work.
interesting. Yes. So that's interesting to me.
Two important takeaways, as well as the one with Matthew. The GameStop situation was also related to Gen Z and the newer generation being involved with digitalization, platforms, binding, connecting with one another to actually push against the herd.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, of course, Mikaela, today was an interesting episode, and today was your first episode as well. How did it go? How was it?
Yes, it was very, very fun. Very happy to be here. Again, I will be continuing being host, so I'm looking forward to keep connecting with the users of the app. Feel free to ask the questions. I will pick them up and ask them throughout the show. And I'm looking forward to the next edition already. Well,
Mikaela, thank you for being here in today's live show. And of course, see you next time as well. Thank you for mentioning the news and building all the bridges to the interviews we eventually did as well. Herbert, thank you for, everything here at the table, right? The interviews, the questions.
I enjoyed myself.
We enjoyed ourselves, and hopefully you enjoyed yourself at home as well. This was today's episode of Bots TV, whereas next week we're going to have the following items we're going to talk about. So we have, of course, Bots News, where Mikaela again will bring us the newest, hottest news of that week and those couple of days. Then Bots Around the World, Bots Topic with Ives Hilipic. Then we have Bots League with Dennis van Iersel. And eventually we're going to talk in Bots Users about everything that has to do with the app itself. So thank you for watching to today's episode of Bots TV. Hopefully you'll find it interesting, and make sure to follow us on social media, on basically any social media platform. And also, if you're not already in the Discord group, make sure to enter the Discord group, because there's many people that can help you out regarding questions or information about cryptocurrencies, financial markets, and a lot more. So thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next episode.